difficult one to sum up, Andy? Just give us your best shot at that.
Yeah, really disappointed with the scoreline and the result, but happy with how we responded at half-time to the challenge that I put to them. The game's, you know, ultimately quite gladiatorial, and there's an aspect of the game where you've just got to run hard, you've got to tackle hard, you've got to show desire, you've got to show courage, you've got to fight, you've got to scrap. And in that first half, we just weren't prepared to do that. We wanted to play a little bit too pretty, and Catalan ramped up, and we didn't bend our backs, we didn't dig our shoulders in, and the scoreboard just started ticking over and it started to run away from us. And then we made some poor decisions again with the ball, you know, tossed the ball into touch on play 3 and kicked away for 7 tackles. And what's hurting is when we make those errors, we compound it by conceding. So it was a really stern half-time dressing shed, and just told the boys that I expect a lot better in the second half, and basically challenged them as men. And what I'm pleased about is they responded, they showed that they care, they played with some heart, they played with some desire, and they managed to get themselves back into the contest in that second 40. Yeah, the scoreboard had gone, and we knew that the scoreboard had gone, but there were some positives in that second half, and you know, it was nice to be able to you know, score 22 points in that second half. Well, sorry, 18 points was it? 18 or 16 points, whatever it was in that second half. And we faced some real adversity. You know, we lost Niall Evans at half-time with a peck. You know, Gareth Widdop jarred an ankle, so he had to come off. We lost Jacob Miller to a HIA. So we had one fit middle on the bench. We've got George Ola playing at 9, Paul McShane's at 7, Jack Broadbent's moved to full-back. You've got Alex Mellor in the centre, you've got Adam Milner in the centre, Jordan Turner pulled out this morning with some sickness. So there was some adversity there, and you know, we've managed to, you know, come out of it in that second half with a little bit of respectability, but desperately disappointed with that first 40.
Is it disappointing as well, Andy, that you say what you just said to them at half time, that you're having to remind professional rugby league players what it takes to win games?
Yeah, it is disappointing. I think sometimes as a team and individually we get lost a little bit in the tactical and technical sometimes, and good ball attack and yardage attack and set plays and scrum plays and all that sort of stuff. But there's only sometimes, you know, 4 or 5 occasions where you get in those positions to execute, you know, your training ground plays. You know, there's 80 minutes sometimes of set for set toil, set for set grind. You complete, they complete, you have to defend the set, they have to defend the set. And we've got to start enjoying that a little bit more and start doing it a little bit better than we're currently doing. So, you know, hopefully the penny will drop and the message will drop, and we'll start embracing the grind a little bit better than we are currently.
At its worst though, in the first half, did you feel that was a new low, or did you feel that was an extension of some of the frailties we've already seen?
Probably.
Did you feel like you'd taken a step backwards?
Yeah, it was probably a new low. You know, the manner of some of the tries that we conceded and the body language when we conceded those tries was really disappointing, and I felt for the fans. You know, they was really disappointed, and you know, there was, you know, things said to myself and things said, you know, to the players out of frustration. And then what's really nice was, you know, there were some fans who, you know, really were happy with what we did in that second half, and they just said, look, we know you're doing it tough, you hang in there, you know, we'll support you, you know, Castleford's in our blood. And you know, that was really pleasing to hear, and that's credit to the players, you know, showing a little bit of character in that second 40. So, you know, that was nice. But yeah, there was a new low in that first half. I was disappointed, but you know, we've got to get out of it, and we've got to get out of it by sticking together and working hard.
And that's it. How do you? It's probably a little bit more than that as well, isn't it? As well, you spoke about the frank discussions you had last week. Those seemingly haven't worked in the first half at least. Where do you go from here?
Well, it's a simple one, but getting players to buy into it is a challenge, and it's, you know, preparing well, you know, working hard every single day, getting maximum out of what you're capable of doing. And I just don't feel as a group we've done that well enough, and we've just got to keep working hard, stick together, you know, understand what we need to do in terms of completing sets, defending tough, you know, turning up for one another. When you get an opportunity to build some pressure, make sure that you build it by making good decisions. And that's what every coach in the competition's saying. The ones at the top are doing it better than the ones at the bottom. And we need to, you know, start understanding that, start buying into that, enjoy the process, enjoy the grind, and know that we'll come out of it if we all sit together and keep working hard.
On the positive side, I thought Sam Hall was brilliant when he came on. Is there any potential for other youngsters maybe to edge out some of the seasoned pros, do you think?
Well, you know, Sammy has, you know, played the last, I think that's the last 4 weeks now, and he's kept his spot because of his performance. He did really, really well when he came off the bench tonight. He carried with some real grunt, got off his line and hit some blocks.
Showing some of the other guys what needs to
be
100%,
and you know, and playing with a little bit of skill and a little bit of composure in there, and you know, that was really, really pleasing for Sam. You know, he's, you know, showing me that he's a competent Super League player now, so, you know, credit goes to him. I thought Alex Mellor played really, really well, considering he'd been moved to the centre and was up against, obviously, Cavallo. You know, that was a late change. You know, Jordan Turner, obviously, sickness today at 2:30, so we had to move Alex to, you know, the centre spot. And, you know, I thought he competed really, really hard, which is pleasing for him, because he's been a little bit out of sorts form-wise, and I thought he took a positive step today. So we just need more of those blokes finding better form.
How bad are those injuries then?
Yeah, on first assessment, looking in the changing rooms, you know, Niall Levels is in a sling, so we'll have to get that scanned and assessed. That's looked like a peck, so hopefully it's not too severe, but, you know, he's had a tough time of it as Niall, so he was bitterly disappointed in the changing rooms there. Jacob Miller's a HIA, so he's a little bit of a bit dusty, bit of a sore head. And then Gareth Widdop's just jarred an ankle, which is something he did 3 or 4 weeks ago, and, you know, struggles once he jars it, you know, to keep out on the field running. So, you know, we lost our span with, you know, 35 minutes of the game to go. Paul McShane, captain's knock, just stick me in at scrum half. I'll go defend at 2-man, put Adam Milner at 3-man, and, you know, Lewis Johnson was obviously over on that left edge, so, you know, he played a captain's knock and, you know, was buzzing around and competing, which is what you want your captain to do. And then Joe Westerman, you know, going in the half packs, picked a couple of beautiful passes and, you know, set up Beretta Fremo for a couple of scores. So, you know, that was pleasing to, you know, win the second half as we did.
Could that be the half pack partnership for next Sunday then?
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to, you know, assess obviously the bodies and see how we go. You know, Joe loved that, having that number 6 shirt on his back. He'll be telling everyone for the next 3 or 4 days how good he was. Yeah, he did well. He did well. You know, and credit to him. He's a competitor and he's a good footballer. And he got his hands on the ball and made some things happen.
So what about the Challenge Cup next week? People will say it's a good distraction from the league, but I guess it's more than that for teams at the bottom end of the Super League at the moment.
It's a great distraction, you know, the Challenge Cup. Great competition. We've obviously, you know, drawn Hull FC, who found some form and got 3 wins. You know, did a good job yesterday in beating Wakefield. So, you know, it'll be a packed house down here at the Jungle, and hopefully we'll be able to put a team out on the field first and put in a strong performance and give ourselves an opportunity to get into the next round. But Challenge Cup's all about the 80 minutes. You know, you don't get a second opportunity to get through. And with that comes, you know, a little bit more pressure and a little bit more excitement, and I'm hoping that the boys, you know, really look forward to that opportunity of going up against Hull at home and, you know, giving themselves a great opportunity to get into the next draw.
Cheers, Leslie.
No worries.
I'll just ask how Craig Lingard's been his first week.
Yeah, he's been really, really good. He was great for me upstairs tonight. You know, as a calm head, understands the game very, very well. And was able, you know, to give a little bit of, you know, advice at certain aspects, you know, so that's something which, you know, has been good for me. I didn't realise how much you lean on your assistant until obviously, you know, one's taken away. So, you know, been doing it since obviously Lee left post. for a while, and obviously Scott Morrell on a day-to-day basis has been fantastic, but just on game days, you know, having just that extra set of eyes and you know, someone who has been experienced, you know, was of good help, and you know, he's fitted in really, really well. We need to try and get him a pair of boots for the training field, because he still goes around barefoot, and his reasoning for it is, you know, he's an ex-serviceman in terms of, you know, prison warden, spent a lot of time in you know, shoes and that sort of stuff. So, you know, that's gone down well. But, you know, he's good character. I really like the person that he is, and, you know, he'll contribute massively to Castleford moving forward. No worries.
You've played 12 games now, Andy. Do you think you are in a relegation scrap?
Yeah, it's quite obvious we are, isn't it? You know, there's two teams who were 2 wins and cut adrift from, you know, everybody else, you know. But I think what's important to understand is there are a lot of games. There's still lots of games to go. You know, Wakefield will be positive, thinking that they can get a couple of results. I'm positive that we can get a couple of results. You know, there's some periods in the games that we've played this year where if we can piece that together for longer, you know, we'll win some games, and we're confident that we'll win more games. I think Hull FC's an example. You know, 4 weeks ago, you know, the belows on the table, they've just come off the back of a derby day, you know, mauling at home, and then all of a sudden they pick up 3 wins. They get Huddersfield on a good day, they get Wigan on a good day, and, you know, they beat Wakefield, and now they're looking up the table. So as quickly as things can unravel, you can also start to gain some momentum just by picking up a couple of wins. So, you know, we're confident that we'll be able to do that.
And of course, there's some speculations there about bringing in Josh Sim potentially from Australia. Are you able to comment on that at all?
Yeah, he's someone we're looking at, but I can't comment in terms of, you know, for this year. But he's certainly a player that we've looked at, and, you know, he'd fit, you know, that profile that we've spoken about. You know, he's a good player and very, very athletic and creative. So, you know, he's certainly someone that we are looking at.